it's Tiff, and I'm coming today with some of the questions that I asked my bariatric surgeon yesterday. This was my second visit. I had my first visit on November 11th, and during that appointment, they did a few surveys like about sleep apnea, just kind of what my general habits are that may be contributing to either weight gain, weight loss, just kind of giving me feelers. They gave me a lot of referrals. So my insurance requires that I have 3 visits with the surgeon, in addition to a visit with a nutritionist, a psychiatric evaluation, and also an endoscopy to make sure that everything is right, and also just to kind of figure out the path that they're going to take during the surgery. During that first appointment, they did explain to me what my options were as far as surgery goes. My particular surgeon, who is Dr. Ryan Pinnell out of Abrazo Arrowhead in Arizona, does not do gastric bypass. So the options he gave me were a sleeve gastrectomy or the SADI S, and I am going to pursue the SADI S. I'll make another video kind of detailing what that is, because it's a bit of a newer gastric procedure. And quite frankly, I don't know enough about it myself at this point to explain it. But anyway, I have everything scheduled in January. So I have my site clearance, I have my endoscopy, I have my nutritional visits, and my insurance was actually super nice and cleared me for 6 visits with the nutritionist, and I'm going to go ahead and use all of those just because it can't hurt to get some extra knowledge and support. I've been keeping up with lab work with my primary, so I don't actually have to go do lab work for my surgery. So I just had labs done in October and last week. So yeah, just to kind of address the questions that came up, I do want to give a little bit of a background as to why I'm pursuing this path. And the big reason why for me is I have never been under 200 pounds as an adult. And quite frankly, I don't know if my metabolism has just slowed down on me. I don't know what's going on. I do know that I am type 2 diabetic. I have been on a plethora of medication, and quite frankly, I work my ass off on the physical activity end of things and just am not getting anywhere. So just felt like, I've tried to avoid having surgery for as long as I have. But I'm at a point where I need the help. I need the support. So the SADI surgery that I'm going to get has an 80% remission of diabetes. It also has a lower regain rate than all of the other surgeries. And things like dumping syndrome and reflux and the need for a revised surgery in the future are lessened with this particular procedure. Now, I'm freaked the fuck out because I've never had anything done. I've never had a tooth pulled. I've never had my tonsils taken out, never had my appendix removed, never given birth. I've never done anything, never been on the table. All that, to clarify, except for when I got my little conversation heart put in my right boob last summer. But anyway, I digress. We can go ahead and get into the questions that I asked my surgeon yesterday, because I do a lot of research. That's kind of my game. I'm a very resourceful person. I check and double check everything that I'm considering doing, thinking about doing, because I don't like surprises. So So the first question I asked my surgeon before I even actually asked my questions is I knew that at my weigh-in yesterday, because it wasn't really clarified on my first visit if it was expected of me to lose weight. So I watch a lot of My 600 Pound Life, and Dr. Now always has weight loss goals that his patients have to meet. So I went into my appointment only down a pound. And that's with calorie counting, that's with lifting weights, that's with all of the meds, that's with doing the most, everything. And the resident and my surgeon told me, your situation's quite different because the basal metabolic rate for a patient that is seeing Dr. Now is not your basal metabolic weight. Someone who is in that weight range is eating 5,000 to 7,000 calories a day, and you're not doing that. And I'm definitely not. So I'm glad they cleared that up. Okay, but I'm going to go ahead and get into my questions. So the first question I asked is, will my gallbladder be removed? If it will not be removed at surgery time, will I likely need gallbladder removal surgery in the future? They told me no. Now, I've never had any known issues with my gallbladder, so I appreciate that. And also the SATI procedure that I'm having, there are less issues with the gallbladder, so that's comforting. My second question is, will my hair fall out? Is there anything that I can do to avoid it or make it less so if it is going to fall out? And the answer is it's possible, but if it does fall out, it will grow back. And then I asked, when will I be cleared for exercise? And they said a month. My next question was, when will I be clear to engage in sexual activity post-surgery? They said around the same time that I would be cleared for exercise, but if I felt comfortable with it, then I'd be okay. So about 2 to 4 weeks for the answer. And then I asked which vitamins were recommended specifically for somebody that has a SATI S, and they said that they would prescribe my specific vitamins, even though there's quite a few on the market. And then my next question was, what is the likelihood that I will be unalived by surgery or post-op? It's less than 1%. It's always a possibility, but less than 1%. Some of the risks they did explain are bleeding and infection. And those are all things that will be heavily monitored during my procedure and then also in the night that I spend at the hospital post-surgery. I asked if I should start taking my vitamins, bariatric vitamins specifically now, and they said no. I asked if I will get a spine block for surgery, and they told me, nope, because you're going under general anesthesia, so you won't even be awake, and you don't want to be awake, so you're not going to feel anything. I asked if I would be able to use a straw post-op, and they said, yes, that's not an issue. They advised that at first it may be extremely uncomfortable, and I won't want to, but I can use a straw. I've been having issues with the sleep medicine doctor, and I explained that on the sleep medicine questionnaire, I answered all of those questions very literally, because some of them were like, oh, do you fall asleep in the car? Well, yeah, if I'm on a road trip, I will, but no, I'm not nodding out. I'm not just driving down the street and crashing out. So now I don't have to see the sleep doctor because they let me redo the survey. Then I asked if I will need an abdominal binder post-surgery, and they told me they will give me one, but most people don't wear it, but if I want to, I'll have it. I asked, will I end up on a feeding tube for the rest of my life? They explained that typically with people that have gastric bypass, which my surgeon does not do, that's when you see those situations, it's because of that. But no, that's not really going to be an issue. I asked a question specific to my insurance regarding the SADS procedure just because it is very new. And they advised that with a SADI, any surgery I get, they're going to submit a PA because, or prior authorization, excuse me. And if it gets denied, then they'll find an alternative. They're like, but that's the surgeon's fish to fry, not mine. I asked if I should start my pre-op diet, and they said no. They told me to enjoy my holidays, enjoy my food, not to worry so much. They did tell me that I will be on a 2-week pre-op diet, which is going to be low carb for the first week, and then the second week I will be on a liquid diet. I asked if I needed to stop taking my testosterone injections and B12 injections before my endoscopy and my surgery. And they just told me altogether to knock off the testosterone because I showed them the lab work. And they're like, you're not supposed to have high testosterone as a woman, so stop taking it. So I did. And I reached out to that doctor and told her to end my prescription for that. But the B12, I'm good to go on the B12. I do know that I would need to stop my Mounjaro and my metformin, and probably some of my other medication the week before the endoscopy, as well as the surgery. But yeah, I'm grateful and thankful that I have this opportunity and that I'm getting the help that I need and I have the support that I do have. I'm doing everything on my end that I can to prepare myself mentally and emotionally. The physical part I can't really do anything about at this point. But it just feels good to know that I have a really good team that's going to help me through this. So take care of yourselves. I love you, and feel free to reach out if you have